Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my favorite substitute teaching tips. For those of you who don't know me, I just finished my first year in 3rd grade in Southern California. I'm moving to 5th grade, and these are my favorite substitute teaching tips that I learned along the way. And along the long journey of subbing, I came up with a lot of tips to share with you guys. I was a substitute teacher for about 2 years and I learned so much good information. And I do want to tell you, substitute teaching is hard, but so worth it, especially if you're entering becoming a teacher and want to be a teacher. You're going to learn so much. Get excited, get pumped. I'm going to be really real with you guys. Subbing is hard. I almost feel like it's a totally different level of difficulty compared to teaching. And that's mainly because you really don't have those relationships established with the students, and it's really hard because you have no idea what their names are and you don't know how their classroom runs. So it's a little difficult. With these tips, I know you will do great. So let's jump into the video. So these tips are really not in any particular order, but I just jotted them down and this is what I wrote down. My first tip of advice is to get there early, 30 minutes early before the bell rings. 1, you don't even know how much traffic's gonna be there in the morning. 2, you need to go in and figure out if there's even sub-plans there. And 3, you need to make sure you know what you're doing for the day. You don't wanna be rushed in there last minute, going through the sub-plans, not knowing anything that you're doing. Not a good idea. Now, my next advice tip is to always write your name on the board. You want your name to be written on the board so the students know how to address you and what your name actually is, instead of saying teacher, substitute, person. You want to make sure that they know your name. That is another level of respect. Put your name on the board right when you get in there. Huge, nice and big. And when you introduce yourself to the class, point to it. Sorry, I will apologize. The sun is going behind the clouds right now, so the lighting will not be the best. Once you get into the classroom and you try to find the plans and there aren't any plans, it has happened to me, it probably has happened to every substitute, do not panic. Call the office. The office typically has emergency sub-plans for every teacher that they have to turn in the beginning of the year. You're not going to be left high and dry. Again, if you don't have plans or you don't know something, just ask the next door teacher. Or usually teachers give you phone numbers, the extension numbers, and you can just call that class. I've had to do it so many times and they're more than willing to help. So do not feel scared to ask for help. Now, I think this is my favorite bit of advice, and I really think every single substitute teacher should have this. And this is the exact one I used when I sub-taught. And I will say, I did get a lot of callbacks because sometimes in districts, I worked for 2 different districts, and one district would not let teachers request substitutes, and then the other district did by phone number. Like, they can text you and say, do you want to work this day? And you can say yes. And that's a really good idea to really experience being a classroom teacher, because you're going to know the routines in the classroom. You're going to know the kids in the classroom, and it's going to run so much smoother. This is the best advice I've ever given to all my friends and to myself. All right, so this is what I created. I do not have a TPT store. Maybe one day I will. And if I do, by the time you watch this video, and it's like years from now, look down in the description box and I will probably have this for free because it took me like 2 seconds to make. So this form it's just on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and all it says is while you were gone, sub notes. And I left a spot for the date. You guys can create this on a piece of paper, or I always had like 100 copies of these waiting in my substitute teaching bag. But I use this all day, every day I subbed. Like, there's no way I was not gonna fill this out. Even if it was a half day, filled it out every time in very explicit detail. Now, when you sub and you want to become a teacher, kind of think about how, if you left your classroom, how would you want your classroom to be run? When you get back, you want to know what happened. You want to know who was absent. You want to know who didn't do what and who was really awesome and who didn't make the best choices. So just keep that in mind. You're acting as the teacher and to inform the teacher. So that's why I always left explicit notes. On this form, I cut off my contact info on the bottom, but I put a box that says students that went above and beyond. And those were just the list of students who were just amazing for me. Thank you. And then down on this side, I left a spot that says students that needed reminders. And then I left this box for comments. And this is where I wrote everything in a lot of detail. Because when I'm a teacher, I am a teacher. Now being a teacher, I appreciate the little details of this stuff. And then always on the bottom, I left my name and contact information. Now, along with that, this is almost a pet peeve of mine now that I am a teacher. Help the teacher out as much as possible. So if you did a lot of assignments that day and the kids turned them in, separate them out and paperclip them nice and orderly. Like, leave it on there. I'm gonna insert a clip of a sub position I did where I subbed there for 7 consecutive days. I just left this room the way I would want it to leave. And the teacher, I subbed there again later, and the teacher was so appreciative of how I left her classroom. I had this on top of each day with the date clearly labeled, and I just put all the work that the students did, put it in order, like by assignment, and I paper clipped everything and put it right behind this. I mean, I would just say be really organized because you want the callbacks and you want to make the teacher happy. Teaching is hard enough. Once the kids come in and they sit down, you absolutely should introduce yourself and explain that the teacher left specific sub plans and that's you're gonna go by. A lot of the times I found myself when I subbed, the kids were like, we don't typically do that. That's not what we do. And it would drive me crazy. In the mornings when I first entered the room, I would say, hey you guys, my name is Miss Thompson. I have the same rules as your teacher. Your teacher left me very detailed lesson plans and we're gonna follow them. I may not know all the rules of the classroom, but you can help me and we can work together getting through this day. I always pulled this out. I was like, all right, on this piece of paper, on these 2 boxes, I am writing students' names who were amazing for me and students' names who needed reminders. Please do not make me put you on, I would say sad face. It's just easier. You can say happy face, sad face. So I would say, please do not make me put you on the sad face list. Like, I don't really want to do that, so please don't make me. Now, I found it really hard to get the middle schoolers' attention in the mornings because they love substitutes. I'm not their teacher. You know, you can remember being in middle school, remembering that there was a sub in the room. I am so guilty of it. I'm so sorry. So this is what I did. Walk into the room and you're gonna introduce yourself and everyone's talking and you need to take attendance. Literally just do this. I'm holding a bubble. The kids will either look at you super confused, what is she doing? But they'll be quiet because they're confused, or they'll be like, oh, I know what to do. It's really easier to get the attention of the younger kids. Just do it and just stare them down. So once you have the students' attention, my best advice is just to be real with them, especially with the middle school students. Say, okay, we need to get through this lesson. If we get through this lesson and you guys do the right thing and treat me with respect, then I will let you guys just talk for the last remainder of the class period. Honestly, one of the best substitute teaching experiences I've ever had was in the very beginning of my substitute teaching career. And it was for a history class in 7th grade, and I told them, we have to get through these slide presentations. You need to write down your notes. The faster I can teach this lesson without any distractions and without any interruptions, you guys can have the rest of the class period to hang out and chat. It was one of the best substitute teaching days I've ever had. I don't really want to give obvious sub tips, but follow the lesson plan. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard a teacher or me myself where the substitute did not follow the sub plan.
Don't do that.
You do not want your name tarnished for being that sub that does not do the sub plans correctly. Another obvious substitute teaching tip, this might sound silly, but it has happened to me. I've had substitutes dig through my desk. The kids are constantly watching you as a sub. Teachers know. It has happened to me. It has happened to my friends. I've had substitutes eat from my desk. Do not. The kids are on you. They're gonna tell the teacher. Do not do it. Do not even think it's a good idea, because it's not. A huge piece of advice, and again, I don't want it to be obvious, but I think it's a really good tip, is to dress nicely. Dress for success. Look professional. You do not want to go into a classroom looking frumpy, because I'm serious. It makes a huge difference. If you go rocking a really cute outfit or a really professional outfit, the students are like, wow, okay. And that goes for teaching too, but just really take care of yourself and look professional, and you'll get a whole different level of respect. Now, this goes for disruptive students. We all know, or maybe you don't know yet, there will always typically be a couple students who don't make your day any easier. There is a huge difference between respect and messing around. You mess around once, okay, stop, whatever. Now, if a student is being disrespectful, call the office. The student should be respectful to you. If they're not being respectful, just call the office and they'll take care of it. If it's really a huge deal, just call for help. All right, the next tip I wanted to give you guys is please do not stress out. Do not stress out if a lesson is not going like well. Do not stress out if you feel like you're not even teaching the lesson well. More times than not, you don't even know how to teach a lesson. So do not stress out that you are not giving the students what they need. All they need is for you to be there and to help them. Do not be too nice with the kids. And that's something I definitely did wrong in the beginning, but then you get used to it and you get the feel for the classroom. You get the feel for rules and expectations of the school, and just, you know, be firm, but don't be a pushover, and the students will respect you. It's earning that respect. Now, I'm gonna speak for myself. When I write subplans, I am not giving the substitute a hard lesson to teach. Most of the time, I am giving the substitute a review lesson. But speaking from a teacher to a substitute, just try the best that you can. Just keep things organized, just follow the subplan, and I will be happy. Trust me, I was in like 8th grade math. I don't remember X and Y latitude. I don't know. I just tried my best. But then I did remember a lot when I was teaching it. So just try your best. It's fine. And please never take things personal when kids act out. Do not. It's not you. It's them. Don't take it personal. It's okay. Trust me, I have gotten bagged on by kids, and I'm like, I'm not gonna take offense to it. I do kind of want to make a funny substitute teaching stories video, so let me know if you guys want that. I have really funny substitute teaching stories, and I love story times. I've gone back down for my outfit, for my eyebrows, a lot of stuff, so do not take offense to it. They're just kids, they don't know. And most of the time they're probably just doing that because they think it's cool, but in actuality it's not. This goes along with being easy on yourself. No 2 days are going to be the same. You're gonna have completely different experiences day to day. So one day may be absolutely terrible. The next day might be absolutely great. Just take it as all learning experiences. What I used to do when I used to sub is I would look at the classroom and see what was on the walls in the classrooms, and I would take pictures of it. I've gotten so many good ideas from other teachers about how they run their classroom and their classroom management just by looking at the walls. Take advantage of that. Take pictures, take notes, like figure out what is gonna work in your classroom and what you like. You know, take little pieces away. Now, sometimes, not always, but sometimes there will be some dead spots. My friend from Early Adventures gave a lot of good like early finisher activities or dead time activities in her video. I'll link her down below. I personally never did that, but she has really good ideas. But what I did, I would bring coloring sheets to the season. So if it's like Halloween time, I would, you know, have coloring sheets of pumpkins. So just bring maybe coloring sheets or maybe crossword puzzles, but I really didn't stress too much about bringing a lot of supplies. All I brought was my substitute teaching bag and my little sub note. Another really good tip is, you know, if you're with the same class all day and you see them getting antsy, what I used to do is I would say, okay, you guys, if we can get through this lesson without any disruptions, if we can do all this without any, you know, behaviors, whatever, we can go outside early for recess. And then I would just walk them out there and watch them while they did a little extra time of recess. That's a really good incentive. It doesn't cost you money. It's really easy, and all you have to do is stand outside and watch them. I don't know. I don't want to say bribes is the end all be all, but it does help. I wouldn't say bribes. I guess I would say incentives. Having like an incentive system like that really helps. So I'm gonna end the video with probably the most important teaching tip for future teachers. Subbing is not like teaching. I've had a lot of friends that are like, oh my gosh, like subbing is so hard. Like, how do you sub? Is this like teaching? Like, oh my gosh, is teaching gonna be like this? No, teaching is so different than subbing. Now, subbing is so different from teaching because a lot of times, pretty much all the time, the students need to know you. The students need to know their teacher. Like, they know their teacher so well. They trust their teacher. They have confidence in their teacher. They love their teacher. So when a stranger comes in, do not take offense if they act up. Like, it's a lot of change, and a lot of times students need a lot of structure. So do not think subbing is like teaching. And I tell everyone that, like, once you have your respect with the kids as a teacher, it's a completely different ballgame than subbing because the students don't know who you are. I mean, that is kind of weird, right? I mean, you don't know who the kids are either. Just try to be understanding and don't take it so serious, and it's gonna be fun. Take everything as a grain of salt if things don't go well, but really just take it for what it is. Maybe even write down like things that happened that were really funny. A lot of times when I subbed, I would just be like, no way that just happened, and laugh about it. Have some humor. It's funny, it's fun, and just go with it. And really, if you're trying to be a teacher, subbing is a great experience. Like, I cannot tell you how much more drive I wanted to be a teacher while I was subbing. So good. It's such a good experience. And the good thing is, once you sub in a spot long enough and maybe you get a lot of callbacks and you become known as like that good substitute, you're gonna earn the respect of the students because they're gonna know you and they're gonna love you. So just keep doing a good job, keep trying to do your best, and it's a lot of fun. And then when you're a teacher, you're gonna know exactly how it felt being a sub, and you're gonna leave really good plans. Please, if you guys are going into the new year as a substitute teacher, be excited. This is a really good time. The really good thing about being a substitute is you kind of get to explore the whole plethora of the grade levels and really the age levels that you really like, and maybe the age levels you're like, but really you can really get an idea of how a classroom runs and the schedule and how kids act, and it's a really good experience. All right, you guys, that is it for my video. Please let me know if this was helpful. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm having so much fun creating videos for you guys. This is my first video of my teacher series, and I'm planning on making so many more. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. But please, if you have any questions, leave them down below. And if you have any other ideas for videos that you want me to make this summer, leave them down below also. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.